Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Back here at the Dome in St. Louis, and not able to broken leg and knee surgery can slow down Sean Payton and the Saints offense for the second straight game. The head coach will be upstairs, and we will address how plays are called. Pete Carmichael, offensive coordinator, did such an excellent job in the Sunday night game in which the Saints scored 62. Chris Carpenter of the Cardinals out there. Honorary captain for the coin toss with Steven Jackson.
He's got the Steven Jackson jersey on too. Love that. Boy, this place was crazy this weekend, wasn't it?
And
Friday night.
It still is. Tony La Russa, who did talk with Steve Spagnuolo back when the Cardinals were 10.5 out, made their improbable run to get in, and then knocking off the Phillies and the Brewers and the Rangers to win the World Series. And there is Steve Spagnuolo, his team on the doorstep of the playoffs last year. They've stumbled out of the gate searching for that first victory of the season, and the Rams in their throwback jerseys where they had success in the 70s went out to the Super Bowl. And there's Pete Carmichael, who we expect will call the plays once again.
Well, he's got the play call sheet, so I would anticipate that he calls the plays. Now, one thing different from last week is Sean Payton certainly had a much bigger part in the game plan being at the facility during the course of the week. That wasn't the case last week, but boy, what a great job Carmichael did. As Bree said, went over without a hitch, 62 points.
But the Rams on offense first. Jarius Norwood inactive, so Quinn Porter back, and nobody has more touchbacks this season than Thomas Morstead. The Saints carry two kickers. Casey handles field goals, and this one is another touchback, so that's 31 for Morstead so far this season. A.J. Feely, the former Philadelphia Eagle, getting his second straight start. The high ankle sprain. The Rams hope, they're anticipating that Sam Bradford will be back next week, but there's a guy to lean on, as you said moments ago. Steven Jackson, 4 games against the Saints, 4 touchdowns and 400 yards.
Well, and the Saints are vulnerable in their run defense. They give up almost 5.5 yards per carry. There's been some good ripper runs, explosion runs on them throughout the year. That's definitely an area that the Rams have got to focus on.
On first down, in and out of the hands of Jackson, incomplete. Checking that offensive group, the addition of Brandon Lloyd at receiver can really change things.
Well, he's a high flyer. He was targeted 12 times, Chris, in the game last week. I would expect quite a bit of the same here in this one. Now, they've been beat up front. Adam Goldberg is going to start out there for Jason Smith, who's down with a concussion and a neck injury. But I'm interested to see how the Saints cover this guy, Brandon Lloyd, today, because he is one of the better ones in the league in terms of getting open and going and getting the ball.
On 2nd and 10, Steven Jackson. First down up around the 35-yard line. And checking the defense of the Saints, 15 quarterback sacks up front, hoping Will Smith, who has 2.5 sacks, can break out.
Yeah, and the rookie Cameron Jordan, 7 games, 7 starts. Love the linebackers. Jolon Dunbar is really made a move on the scene here. And then on the back end, Roman Harper, a big-time blitzer. Jabari Greer, an underrated corner.
And Greg Williams, defensive coordinator, blitzes more than anybody in the NFL. After a 15-yard pickup, Jackson on first down. Tough running for Steven Jackson. Up near the 44-yard line, Malcolm Jenkins brought him down.
And that's where they're going to run today. The attack mode for the St. Louis Rams will be on the edges against this New Orleans defense, because Greg Williams, you know, everyone will call him a 4-man front. There will be more than 50% of this game. Well, he'll have 3 down linemen and 4 linebackers. And he'll even get into that old bear look, Chris, where he puts kind of double eagle both defensive tackles. Defensive ends get down on the offensive guards, which leaves linebackers, safeties, and DBs on the edge. The Rams will attack the edge all day long.
Bear double eagle, worried about the Ram on 2nd and 1, and there's the Ram runner Jackson, who came in averaging just under 5 yards a carry at 4.9. Remember, he was injured in the opener against the Philadelphia Eagles. Has been back for a couple of games now.
It'll be a great game, the chess match with Jonathan Vilma defensively and A.J. Feely, who is a veteran quarterback and further along than Sam Bradford in terms of just knowing the game and the checks and all the adjustments. And I promise you, Vilma will be in his.
You coming?
We'll be listening to him and then talking back, adjusting all day long.
On first down for Brandon Lloyd. Tipped away at the last moment by Malcolm Jenkins.
Well, this ball just comes out a little bit late, and it gave Malcolm Jenkins an opportunity. You see how Brandon Lloyd had to stop and wait for it? He was wide open. That's that cover 2 defense where a corner, you see Porter's going to play him shallow. Malcolm Jenkins is going to come over the top. Lloyd stretched him out big time. A.J. Feely was late distributing and unloading the football, which gave Jenkins the opportunity to go get a bat down. Or Chris, that was 6 points.
Blue 80.
Feely still has it for Lloyd again, and overthrew him. He had a step and a half on Tracy Porter. It'll be third down. So the Rams finally get a receiver who can get open deep, and they can't get him the football.
Already targeted him twice, and A.J. Feely will want both of those back. I love this little look. They're going to fake a reverse. It's going to hold the linebacker. Look at the safety come flying up on that reverse fake. Leaves one-on-one coverage. Lloyd on Tracy Porter, and about 3 yards too far, A.J. Feely aired it out. You already can see the impact, though, Brandon Lloyd can have on this offense. We hadn't seen that in the first 5 games of the St. Louis Rams.
Hey, you want to
See how the Saints play it on 3rd and 10 with their defense threatening. Pressure. Here it comes. Feely unloads low and incomplete for Brandon Gibson. 4th down, forcing a Ram punt.
Ball a little low into the inside. You would love to see Gibson be able to hold on to that. And they're going to send one more than the Rams can protect. Here's Jackson to this side. He gets Will Smith, but there's an unblocked defender who's going to lay out A.J. Feely coming from the front side. Gibson couldn't hold on.
Donnie Jones, former LSU star, who's been busy this year, and Sproles, fair catch and then steps away inside the 15 of the Saints. And Drew Brees of the Saint offense takes over after the defense forces the Rams to punt.
This game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
A number of St. Louis Cardinal players are here celebrating the trophy, sharing it with Ram fans at the Dome in St. Louis. Down to their, not their last game, their last strike at a 2-run deficit in Game 6. And the rest, you know, is history here. And a guy who's rewriting history in the passing department, Drew Brees, on 1st and 10 from the 15. Complete at the 25 for a first down to Jimmy Graham. And coming in, Brees, no player in NFL history has passed for more yards in the first 7 games of a season than Brees, 2,477, and he just added to it. The numbers are staggering.
How much do you love talking to Drew Brees? As good as he is on the field, he's better off of it in terms of the person that he is. The humility is incredible.
Polite, but determined and driven. Pierre Thomas. Fighting out to the 35-yard line. Aaron Sproles will back up Thomas. The Saints are without their leading rusher, Mark Ingram, the former Heisman Trophy winner. Should be back next week battling a heel injury. Chris Ivory active.
And Drew Brees has got weapons all over the place. Running backs, receivers, tight end. Jimmy Graham is as good as anybody. These two right there are the 2 best offensive guards in pro football. And I'll tell you, Charles Brown out at right tackle, the second-year player who came in with an injury, number 71 there, has really played well since he got into the starting lineup for Zach Street.
Sproles checks in on 2nd and 3. Incomplete in the area of Devery Henderson. Checking the Rams on defense, Laurinaitis, James Laurinaitis, their leading tackler. Chris Long, though, up front with 3 sacks, most of those coming in the early portion of the season.
Yeah, Chris has got to get it going, as does James Hall on the edge. But I think most importantly, those defensive tackles have got to get penetration, get Brees off of his spot. He's a midline thrower behind the center, and then they have been beat up in the secondary. Look at those 4 guys. Al Harris, 36 years old, out there trying to play man coverage.
No team better on third down in the NFL than the Saints, and they produce once again. Lance Moore making the catch. In the Rams secondary, Justin King is out, so they've lost the top 4 corners that they had coming into the year.
Well, you think about it, and Breeze against the zone just going to scissor this right in there between the 2 safeties. But the 4 corners that are the 2 corners and the 4 up today, 3 of them weren't even here September the 1st. Al Harris was the only one here when the season started.
Chris Ivory checks in wearing number 29. He was the leading rusher last year. His first action of this year as Laurinaitis makes the tackle. He had a foot injury, a sports hernia, and Sean Payton told us he's not going to take the role of Mark Ingram, but he'll get 8 to 10 plays.
Well, in effect, Chris, this is his first preseason game. Think about it. The guy's been on PUP with a foot injury, hurt last year, ran for over 5 yards a carry. He does bring those same elements that Ingram brings to the table in terms of the power back, but I'll be surprised if he has more than 10 carries in this game.
Darren Sproles is in. That's him in motion. Breeze looks that way and tipped away in the middle of the field by Laurinaitis. It'll bring up third down.
Watch James Laurinaitis read the eyes of the quarterback right in the throwing zone. He's going to get up, get a hand on it. Oh, he almost picked that. And then Darian Stewart just lights up Lance Moore.
Incomplete. Intended for Marcus Colston. Al Harris, the oldest corner active in the NFL, tipped it away, and it'll be fourth down.
Well, and I love this because it's an inside in route, and you've got a mismatch because it is man coverage because they're coming with the pressure. So Al Harris is just getting right in his hip pocket. You could not play it any better. That's what I talked about a few minutes ago. Al and man coverage. You don't want to see a lot of that today. That was super.
Morstead back to punt for the Saints, and Austin Pettis for the Rams to receive. Inside the 20, the Ram offense will take over for the second time today, but the defense by the Rams keeping pressure on Breeze. We're scoreless in the opening quarter.
There's Steve Spagnuolo, who's talking to his defensive backs. We also saw him go down and talk to the linebackers. You got to be happy if you're Spags. That juggernaut offense, they came out and handled them right at the start. Pleasing.
On first down, Jay Feely, and Will Smith brings him down.
Well, you get a tight end matched up on Will Smith, you better forget about it, because Will is in the best shape I've ever seen him in as he slams down the line of scrimmage. Now he just reads the slide protection away from him. They had no chance. I mean, the tight end tried to go down and block him. Nobody touched Will Smith. That's clearly a bust in protection. It's the best pass rusher on the field. You got to get 2 hands on him.
16th sack of the year for the Saints. Loss of 9. Steven Jackson with nowhere to go, and Jonathan Vilma with the stop. It'll be third down. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee for a game break.
Minnesota gets on the scoreboard first against Carolina. That's Percy Harvin out of the backfield, taking it in for 10 yards. That was just 2 plays after Cam Newton fumbled it. And so the Vikings have a 7-0 lead on the road. Chris and Tim.
All right, thanks, Kurt. A couple of rookie quarterbacks fun to watch, and Cam Newton and Christian Ponder.
I think there's hope when you watch Ponder last week and that start against Green Bay. Really made some nice plays.
Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator for the Rams, in the hole.
Alpha,
We're going to rush 3, drop 8 here.
And the Rams play it safe with Steven Jackson. And they will be forced to punt as Roman Harper, who leads the Saints team in tackles, made the stop on the Rams' go-to guy.
And have no problem with that if you're Josh McDaniels making that call. It's 3rd and forever. You're backed up near your own goal line. Get some relief in terms of field position. Play the field position game.
So Donnie Jones, and there's Darren Sproles. He's already run one back this year. The former Charger at 5'6", waves everybody away, and a nice kick bounces out of bounds near the 40-yard line, where the Saints offense will take over. Steven Jackson carrying much of the Rams' offensive load so far.
Today's game is sponsored by Pizza Hut. Right now, get any pizza for just $10 only at your Pizza Hut. By Verizon 4G LTE, America's fastest, most reliable 4G network. And by the all-new Volkswagen Passat. That's Das Auto.
Second straight game that Sean Payton is allowing offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael to call the plays.
And Carmichael's so prepared, so intelligent. But I got to give Sean Payton some credit. I mean, I don't think 3 years ago he would have done that.
And they call Sproles' number here. Excellent defense by the Rams.
And the reason I say that is obviously Sean has won a Super Bowl and he understands what he is as a play caller. He's still in tremendous pain, I know, from the knee surgery and from the leg. And it really, to me, is a great illustration of not being selfish at all. Look, it's his offense. He's been the play caller, and he's kicking it down to Carmichael and letting him handle it.
After a 2-yard loss, Chris Ivory checks in and gets the carry on second down, brought down just short of the 45 by James Laurinaitis, who's already been busy. And, you know, it's interesting that Sean Payton talked about Pete Carmichael being with him from the very beginning when he came to New Orleans, and they have a perfect understanding. And he's complimentary of guys who don't get a lot of attention, but who do the job. Called them loyal soldiers.
That's right. And I know he also made the example of when he was with Sean Payton with Bill Parcells, that it was never a big deal with the play calling. Bill handled it sometimes, Sean handled it sometimes, and I think Sean learned a lot, Chris, from that experience.
See what they call here on 3rd and 7. Pressure on Breeze, and there's Sproles. Darren Sproles all the way down to the 36 of the Rams. Well, 19-yard pickup.
And here's the guy in man coverage. Chris Long is trying to cover Darren Sproles, who's just running right by him. Chris has no chance. Drew identified it right away. And let me tell you something else. The Saints do a real good job of subtly moving the pocket. Little half rolls, little sprint outs. It's exactly what Breeze did there and found the matchup. Sproles on Chris Long.
Pierre Thomas checks in for Breeze on 1st and 10. And they swarm Breeze and bring him down. James Laurinaitis with the sack.
All right, here's James right here. We've already seen him get some good pressure up on the inside on the last drive. Watch him come around this way as they'll slant everybody in front of them. And that was just an all-out blitz right there from Steve Spagnuolo. They sent more than the New Orleans Saints could cover. And there's the wrestling background. Take your vitamins, Laurinaitis.
All right, son of the animal. Father, the professional wrestler, on 2nd and 18. There's Pierre Thomas trying to run a screen, but the Rams have that smothered with Chris Chamberlain making the stop. It'll bring up another 3rd down for the Saints.
Not a huge fan of screen passes to a cover 2 defense. You got 5 guys underneath in zone coverage, and Chris Chamberlain's just going to read this with his eyes right away. He sees Pierre Thomas, who's a very good screen player, leak out, and Chamberlain's just all over it.
So a 4-yard loss, 3rd and 22. For the best 3rd down offense in the NFL coming in. See what Steve Spagnuolo does with 6 defensive backs. Breeze completes short of the 1st down to Lance Moore, but within field goal range. And out comes 41-year-old John Casey after the 17-yard completion to Lance Moore. Casey has not missed from inside 50 and replacing the injured Garrett Hartley from the start of the season. 16 of 18 overall so far this year. Told me in pregame warmups his distance 53 in a dome, and this will be a 49-yarder. The kick to the left, no good.
Tell you, the longer the Rams, and we're very early in this game, can do what they're doing defensively and force a mistake or two, the higher their confidence level is going to grow.
Tim Wright, Chris Myers, Steve Spagnuolo's team desperate for a win.
Well, 7 of those 8 wins since he's been here came last year. Look, Chris, this guy didn't forget how to coach. He coached the Giants to a Super Bowl victory as their defensive coordinator, and I think has been highly affected, certainly by the injuries, but the lockout too, just because of what they do on defense and so many young guys. It takes time to really digest it and figure it out.
Feely on first down floats one for the tight end or in between 2 tight ends. It'll be second down and 10. Sam Bradford with that injured ankle, and the Rams were telling us they are optimistic that he will be able to play next week, missing his 2nd straight game. Hurt it on the very last play of the loss to the Packers.
And have been very cautious with him. I know in talking to Steve Spagnuolo, they casted it up. They didn't want him putting any weight on it for the first week after it was hurt. And he's getting close. And I think when you look at their schedule in November and as the games start to lighten up in terms of the competition, that's where they'll have their sights for their big quarterback.
Quick pitch to Steven Jackson. Has room on second down. Tripped up short of the first down. Scott Shanley from his linebacker spot. Feely has not been sharp early. The Rams have had opportunities. That's the 5th carry for Steven Jackson. It'll bring up 3rd and 2.
I do like the play. A little flip 90, getting it out. That's the one where you get everybody kind of misdirection, thinking it's going to the right, and then you flip it out to the left. Good vision there by Steven Jackson. Will Smith was sitting there waiting for him. He stuck his foot in the ground and cut it downhill for a big gain.
See if Rams can take advantage of the good field position off the missed 49-yard field goal. Pressure, passes. Did he hang on? Brandon Lloyd went to his knees and made the catch for a first down. Sprawling like a twisted pretzel.
Get ready for this, because there's pressure coming all day from Greg Williams. He pressures more than any team in the National Football League. Feely knew he was going to get rocked. I call those bailout throws. You're bailing out. You know you're going to get hit. And he delivers a strike for a first down to Brandon Lloyd. Well played.
Moving into Saints territory. Steven Jackson. Cut down at the 46 of New Orleans. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee for a game break. Kurt.
The Dolphins still trying to get that first win of the season. Go up first against the Giants. Steve Slayton playing only his 2nd game with Miami. Puts him up 7-0. One of Sparano's crew thinking maybe, just maybe, today. Chris and Tim.
The winless Saints, winless Rams, the Colts winless. Thanks, Kurt. On 2nd and 9.
Here comes the pressure.
Straight up the middle. Feely throws it through the hands of his tight end Lance Kendricks. In a hurry, it'll be 3rd down.
And they're just going to send the house. The Rams don't have enough blockers. They get into those spread sets, and you see right there, there's just not enough guys to pick them up. Casillas is a very good rusher, and that's what Greg Williams does. He is going to chop the head off the dragon, period. And he's going to keep coming. Their sack production hasn't been great, but they've had a tremendous impact on opposing quarterbacks by sending Chris a bunch of pressure.
Batted in the air. Incomplete. And Jonathan Casillas got his arms up. It'll be 4th down Rams.
Again, unblocked. Here comes Casillas, 52, right here, coming off the edge. Cadillac Williams crosses over to block the other side. There's 3 defenders in A.J. Feely's face.
A.J. Feely, the 13th different starting quarterback for the Rams since 2002. Only Miami has had more. So a punting situation for Donnie Jones on the Rams. Pressure comes in, but he gets it off. Sproles has it. And they have Sproles right at the 15 of New Orleans. 35-yard kick. The NFL's highest scoring offense is yet to get going, but the defense not doing too badly for New Orleans. In a scoreless game, the Rams and Saints here in St. Louis, and for New Orleans coming off 62 points against the Colts. Well, it's human nature to have a little bit of a letdown.
Yeah, but you know what? I think they had their wake-up call a couple weeks ago against Tampa, and now they've got Tampa coming up again. Then they've got to go to Atlanta.
On first down, Meacham has it. his 26th catch of the season.
And in talking to Drew yesterday, he said, look, elite teams don't have letdown games. Bottom line, we got to come in here. We know we're playing an 0-6 opponent. They're winless. But Drew also knows that an 0-6 team can beat you in a hiccup in the National Football League. It's just the way it works.
A hurry up here on 2nd and 2, and the handoff to Pierre Thomas for a Saints first down. And Sean Payton reiterated that you want to be a good team or you want to be an elite team. There's a difference there. You can't stub your toe and be one of the elite teams. When you're supposed to win games, you got to win them. And right now, the Rams are hanging with the division leaders of the NFC South, and James Laurinaitis has already had a terrific opening quarter for this Ram defense.
But have been everywhere.
Fresh set of downs for Drew Brees. To the fullback, who was knocked out in a hurry, Jet Collins barely got his hands on the ball before Chamberlain wrapped him up.
45 Jet Collins, tackled by number 57 Chris Chamberlain.
See, I love defensively screens when you're in man coverage, because if you don't get blocked, remember I said earlier the cover 2 is not good for, it's good to stop a screen offensively. You don't want to run the screen at a cover 2. You really don't want to run it at man coverage either. You got to get that guy chopped down if you're going to get the screen play.
Darren Sproles trying to find room and hit from behind and brought down by Robert Quinn. And a week ago, for this Saints team, this is what it looked like in the opening quarter when they had 21 points against the Colts. That was a different kind of winless team, and the Saints were playing in their own dome.
What I like about what Steve Spagnuolo is doing here today is he's sending pressure, Chris. He's not sitting back in that shell the way Indianapolis did in that game last week.
On 3rd and 14, the underdog Rams. Maybe a little Cardinal magic rubbing off. They're hanging in there with the Saints so far. That's the end of the first quarter. Scoreless. Saints and Rams on Fox. And an early happy Halloween from all of us at Fox. Tomorrow when you're out trick-or-treating. On 3rd and 14, the Saints from their own 23-yard line were scoreless to start the second quarter.
Watch out for Colston right here down the middle of the field.
Breeze with time underneath and knocked down short of the first down. Pierre Thomas with the catch, and there's James Laurinaitis again.
He is playing out of his mind. This has been the best game I've seen Laurinaitis play this year, and he's doing it in coverage. He's getting his hand on the ball. He's been there as a blitzer. He's been there defending the run, tackling ball carriers at the line of scrimmage. Outstanding.
Now, is it the Saints being a little bit careful, or the defense forcing them not to open up the offense?
I'm not so sure that they expected, that being the Saints, this much pressure from the St. Louis Rams. And I know the Rams are a pressure group, but as beat up as they've been in the secondary, maybe New Orleans was expecting a little more zone coverage.
Strong boot from Thomas Morstead. It bounces inside the 15 and goes out of bounds at the 12-yard line, 11.5-yard line of the Rams. A 61-yard kick. The Rams on offense in a moment.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Sprint. All football, no limits. Only from Sprint. By Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. And by the Ford F-150, the only truck available with EcoBoost.
James Laurinaitis with 5 tackles so far and a sack as well. Coming up after football, coverage behind the scenes with Cain Velasquez and Junior Dos Santos. They'll go head-to-head for their heavyweight championship of the world. UFC Primetime is following football right here on Fox. 1st and 10 Rams. Feely 2 of 9 so far. Feely goes down. Roman Harper from his safety spot. 4.5 sacks so far this year for Harper.
And, you know, they started the preseason with this same sack. Here's Harper. He's going to mill around out here and come off the edge, and then he's just going to come right by Roger Saffold, the left tackle. You're supposed to kick out the protection. Saffold missed it. That's just classic what they call 2-jet protection. Turn out anytime that threat is out there. Saffold turned down. As soon as he did, Roman Harper read it, turned on the jets, and got a big sack.
2nd and 19. With 3 tight ends, they run to Steven Jackson, who gets some of that yardage back, bringing up 3rd down for the Rams. Harper ran him out of bounds.
Run out of bounds by Harper.
Who would have thought this would be a defensive struggle into the second quarter?
Gain of 10. 3rd and 9 from the Rams.
It'll be now 3rd and 9. Jackson 7 carries, 35 yards against Greg Williams' defense.
Greg, you don't need to cover your mouth. We know what you're calling. It's a pressure call.
I would guess blitz if I had to.
Go down, here you go. 558. Here you go. Blue 80.
He sends 6. The pass is complete. And crossing for the first down, Brandon Gibson.
To number 11, Brandon Gibson.
13-yard connection from Feely to Gibson.
And that's a great job by A.J. Feely and the receivers knowing what's happening, because here comes the pressure. Now they got some zone off. They're just going to run a crossing route and get Brandon Gibson underneath. Those guys are playing off coverage. Just run a little crossing route up in front of them, and well-delivered ball from A.J. Feely.
Quick pass. That's Brandon Lloyd with another Ram first down.
This is too big of a cushion for a guy like Brandon Lloyd. It's just easy. Feely sees it. He's going to hitch it up and throw it. Now you got a one-on-one isolation. Good job by Lloyd, just taking what he could get there past the first down sticks.
An 11-yard pickup. That was Patrick Robinson on Lloyd that time.
What an addition to this Rams offense, Brandon Lloyd. Great job by Billy Devaney going in and getting him for really a cup of coffee.
The general manager of the Rams. Feely's throw down the sideline and incomplete for Lloyd. Talk about Brandon Lloyd. Last season, he led the NFL in receiving yards, 1,448. He was a member of the Broncos, and then head coach Josh McDaniel, who is the offensive coordinator currently with the Rams. That was the only 1,000-yard season of Lloyd's career. Traded to the Rams after week 6 for a 6th-round draft choice in 2012. And paying dividends right away on 2nd and 10. Jackson. Steven Jackson into Saints territory with another first down.
Boy, what a block by Jacob Bell, the left guard. 2 tight ends, 2 running backs. You know that the ball is going to be run. Watch him take Seth Ellis and just wash him off the screen. And then there's just nobody. And he just washes him out of the picture, grabbing him, taking him out, staying locked up, and then good backside blocking as well. Huge hole.
50 yards rushing for Jackson. Cadillac Williams checks in on first down. Feely to throw, and he can't get loose. Brought down by Will Smith, his 2nd sack of the game.
Will Smith coming. They're going to go out. He's going to come inside. He ends up on the guard, Jacob Bell. You see, he just slants inside. That's the old bull rush, where you just turn that thing right into power. You put your crown of your helmet right in his chest and just bull him into the quarterback. He bulled Bell on that one. Maybe he'll call that the Bell rush.
2nd and 17 for Feely. That's Gibson in motion. Quick pass. Caught by Salas. He's going to game break and check in with Kurt Benefield.
Carolina caps off the longest drive of the season for them, 90 yards, with a 1-yard scramble and touchdown throw by Cam Newton to Jeremy Shockey, his first score of the season. It's all even at 7 against the Vikings early in the second quarter. Chris and Tim.
Thanks, Kurt. And here, scoreless in the second quarter. Surprising if you watched the Saints last Sunday night when they put up 60+. 3rd down and 9 for the Rams. Pressure again. He floats it for Jackson. Steven Jackson going to be knocked down just at the 40, so he'll be short of a first down, and the Rams go for it on 4th.
And they are taking advantage of all the blitzes.
And they're going to go for it, looks like.
Absolutely. At this point of the field, they're taking advantage of all the pressure calls that Greg Williams is calling. We saw they came out on the first drive. A.J. Feely missed a couple of opportunities to Lloyd deep. Second drive, they came out, and the blitz really got to them. Now they're just countering the blitz and breaking them down.
They need 2 yards for a first. First down, Greg Salas. And Greg Salas inside the 10. First and goal, Rams.
C.J. Feely's very well. What
Did that really go as far?
Oh, man, busted coverage here. They got a cluster to the outside. They bunch up the
Rams
formation.
are hurrying to the line here.
Yeah, that was a breakdown by the Saints on defense.
And the snap, let's see, we got a wave here by the official.
Back to the snap. This is the first charge timeout, New Orleans.
So the Saints saw the Rams hurrying to the line and called timeout. Walt Anderson, our referee, on top of it. After a 33-yard gain, Greg Salas, it's 1st and goal, Rams. We're getting a challenge here. At least the flag is thrown by the Saints sideline.
And they should. Greg Salas here. Now, really hard to tell from this angle, but it does look like as Malcolm Jenkins and the other defenders were converging to tackle him, that a piece of that right foot got out of bounds just past the 10-yard line.
Joe Vitt, assistant head coach, again with Sean Payton upstairs.
New Orleans is challenging the ruling on the field that the receiver after the catch did not step out of bounds.
Remember, it's ruled a catch and did not step out of bounds, so the video has to be clear enough to overturn it, and they'll be looking at the foot of Greg Salas on the sideline.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Visa. More fans go with Visa.
Glad you're with us from St. Louis. The NFL on Fox. Tim Ryan, Chris Myers, and the Saints challenging a 33-yard catch and carry by Greg Salas. It happened on 4th down.
Yeah, what a call, and a busted coverage for sure. And this is beyond the 20-yard line at about the 23, and it's right there. Is that foot out of bounds? Can you really have clear visible evidence from that angle? I don't know that you can if you're going to turn this thing over, considering it was not called out of bounds, Chris, on the football field.
It's difficult to overturn based on that video. If you had an overhead
so
shot.
Close. It looks like the grass is kicked up just right on the edge of the white stripe.
There were a couple of parts to this. Obviously, with Sean Payton upstairs, he may have a better view on seeing how things are happening or on replays. And the other part was the Rams quickly ran up in a hurry up to try and snap the ball. That's when the Saints first used a timeout. They have 2 remaining, then decided to challenge.
Yeah, and either way, what a play call on 4th down. And the execution right now, this drive by the St. Louis Rams versus that blitz has been outstanding.
After reviewing the play, the receiver's right foot was out of bounds at the 23-yard line. It'll be St. Louis's ball, 1st down at that spot. New Orleans will not be charged with a timeout for the challenge. However, they are still charged with their original timeout. So they have 1 timeout during the 1st half. Please put 9:24 on the game clock.
Old Eagle Eye Sean Payton and the guys down on the sideline. That was a clever challenge because it out back at the 22. See where they mark where his foot went out.
It ends up being about a 20-yard gain for them in terms of pushing them back that 20 yards further away from the end zone.
Big difference. Joe Lombardi, quarterback coach, up there as well. So it turns into a 17-yard reception on 4th down. That gives the Rams a 1st down. And there's some discussion going on. The officials on the Saints sideline.
The referee's on the sideline.
Now this is an area, Greg Williams, when they've had their backs against the wall on defense with the red zone, in the red zone, he is called off the pressure most of the year. They played mostly coverage down in this area of the field. Curious to see what they do here.
9:24.
So they're resetting the clock as well as moving the ball back where they said Salas went out of bounds. So you got quite a connection here with Joe Vitt down on the field. You got Greg Williams, defensive coordinator. You got Pete Carmichael calling the plays. Sean Payton upstairs. And a scoreless 2nd quarter, but the Rams on the move. Feely almost intercepted. Jabari Greer had his fingertips on it.
Jabari Greer was all over it. This is an underrated corner. They have the stat burn rate for corners in the National Football League, and Jabari Greer's name's never brought up as one of the guys that rarely gives up big plays or gets burnt. That was perfect there. Really pulling off a shallow receiver and Steven Jackson, getting his eyes on the quarterback and just reading the QB who tried to get it to that 2nd tier in the progression, Chris, of the routes.
The Saints want more turnovers. They only have 7 so far this year. More takeaways. Steven Jackson Down inside the 20-yard line. It'll bring up a third down.
Tackled by number 96, Tom Johnson.
If you just tuned in, those zeros are correct. The Saints really haven't threatened down towards the goal line. They did have a 49-yard field goal that John Casey missed, but Steve Spagnuolo's defense has done a nice job on the top-scoring offense so far. Batted in the air and incomplete. And Feely got drilled. The Rams, who went for it on 4th and 2, will set up for a field goal try.
Sending pressure again, but the block comes from right up the middle. It's Greg Williams, who does not like to usually blitz down in this area, sends the guys. Will Smith coming up inside, and he's the one that got his hand on it. That's the same package they ran earlier where Will Smith came inside on Jacob Bell and got the sack. That time he got the bat down.
Jonathan Casillas with a solid hit on Feely. A 38-yard try for Josh Brown. And the kick is good. The Rams leading 3-0. We welcome you back here in St. Louis. The Saints defense bottling up the Rams after they went on 4th down, and then the 38-yard field goal by Josh Brown, and it's 3-0 with 8:32 to go before the half. The winless Rams leading the 5-2 Saints. Darren Sproles set to return, and Brown will kick it to him. Sproles will have a chance. Got through the hole. Josh Brown was part of the stop. Brian Keel making the tackle this December. Two of the most storied conferences in college football culminate their seasons with 2 epic championship games for the first time in their history. Fox Sports will bring them to you on back-to-back nights. The Pac-12 championship game Friday, December 2nd. The Big Ten championship game on Saturday, December 3rd. And both games in high definition only on Fox.
How about that USC Stanford game last night? What a heartbreaker. Whoa.
On 1st and 10. Breeze completes right at the 30-yard line. Jimmy Graham, his tight end. Let's get out of the field, and Jennifer Hale working the sidelines for us. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, guys. Well, I'll tell you what, Chris Ivory hasn't played football since last January. He tells me he just can't wait to get this first game under his belt. Who Dat fans should watch for him in goal line snaps and short yardage situations. He just came on the field for the Saints, so I know he's looking forward to doing some great things. Peyton says he really wants to see his ball security skills. That's hard to simulate. Guys, we'll see. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Jennifer. And Ivory, the carry, and fighting hard at the 30-yard line, eventually brought down. Became a fan favorite last year because of his physical style of running when they had all the injuries at running back.
And I was a little surprised. You asked me on the break what's going on with the Saints. I was a little surprised in the first quarter that they didn't turn more to the run game. Look, this Rams team gave up 294 yards on the ground against Dallas last week. They're the worst in the NFL in defending the run, and was a little surprised early in this game that the Saints didn't hit it.
Third down, pass complete to Pierre Thomas for a first down. Rams giving up an average of 184 yards on the ground per game. But the Saints are a throw-first team, and then they want to run it effectively when they have to. So from the 37, Saints with a fresh set of downs. Sproles is the running back. Breeze complete to the fullback. Jet Collins fighting for a first down and into Ram territory. It's got a game break. Check in with Kurt Menefee.
Cam Newton strikes again. This time finds his tight end Greg Olsen open on a 39-yard score. Second touchdown pass of the day for Newton. And his team's up 14-3 on the Vikings in the second quarter. Chris and Tim.
All right, thanks, Kurt. For Jet Collins, now 2 fullbacks in. Corey Hall joins him after the 14-yard gain. Pierre Thomas in, and he gets the carry. Not much. You know, Jed Collins, one of those guys, a free agent. Mickey Loomis, the former executive of the year, general manager, just finds these free agent, undrafted guys, and they fit in somehow, some way. He had been with Cleveland, Arizona, Chicago, Philadelphia, Kansas City, Tennessee, and all since 2008.
Yeah, the list goes on. 8 teams, and Mickey Loomis finds guys like that and does an outstanding job of really assembling misfits and putting them together to play good ball. Same thing with Brian De La Puente, the center right there. He's a guy that's been on 4 teams, spent time here on the practice squad last year, and he's playing well.
On second down, Breeze throws high, but hauled in by Meacham. It'll bring up 3rd and short. They're going to mark this at about the 43 of the Rams.
Gotta love the methodical approach by Drew Brees. Look, this is an explosive offense. They can drive it down the field. But I know in talking to Drew, he thinks first downs, not touchdowns. Just keep going, 10-play drives, first downs, everything else will take care of itself.
On 3rd and 4. They got Breeze, and he goes down. Robert Quinn wrapped him up.
How long have the Rams fans been waiting for this? The first-round pick, here he is. Robert Quinn has gotten a lot of pressure, but has been unable to finish this year. That is a nasty good move to the inside of the left tackle, Jermon Bushrod. He sells it upfield, and then plants and dips and comes inside and is able to finish on the quarterback. Big time play.
So Morstead back to punt, standing inside his 35 on Austin Pettis, the rookie from Boise State. Inside the 15, fair catch. His own man was blocking, and the ball went out of bounds as he was bumped. So there should be no flag, although the players are going at it over there. It was special. Now there's a flag high in the air. See Jonathan Vilma over there for the Saints talking to the official. That's Garth DeFelice, part of the crew of Walt Anderson.
I like James Coleman over there, the side judge taking charge. Got the hat off right in the middle of the scrum.
Well, initially there was no penalty, but as they carried out of bounds, the blocking or the pushing and shoving, that's what prompted the flag. This game has been penalty-free so far, at least those that have been accepted.
Well, you got to be pumped up if you're a Rams fan sitting at home watching this game, because this is, we've done a few of their games, this is by far their best performance.
There is no foul for kick-catch interference because the player was blocked. However, after the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 37.
All right, we apologize for the mic going out. He's talking about James Butler of the Rams. The Rams will be backed up even further when we come back. What a difference a week makes. Breeze 12 out of 15 so far, but a missed 49-yard field goal, and the Saints have 0 points. The Rams leading for the first time since week 2 against the Giants. In fact, the winless Rams have only led 6.5 minutes the entire season before today.
To the mic.
Steven Jackson on first down. Let's get a game break. Check in with Kurt Menefee.
How about on the road, the Cardinals doing it to the Ravens? This is the rookie Patrick Peterson, number 5 pick out of LSU, slipping a couple of Raven tackles and taking a punt return 82 yards for a score. His second punt return touchdown of the year. Arizona all over the Ravens, 17-3, and Chris and Tim, they just picked off Joe Flacco.
Well, that deserves a wow. The Cardinals are leading. Miami is beating the Giants, and the Cardinals lead the Rams. It's Halloween soon. Salas fighting, falling forward. The ball comes out, but let's see what the official rules. Was he down?
Ruling down by contact. You see him, there pointing to the ground.
attack. It's a first down.
So the rookie from Hawaii, Greg Salas, fights hard.
Well, we had him against the Packers a couple of weeks ago. There he's down, and then the ball gets pulled out. That's a good call, down by contact. We had him against the Packers. He took off. He had an outstanding game against the Green Bay Packers 2 weeks ago.
Stepping into the slot because, remember, Danny Amendola injured early in the year. Steven Jackson splits all the way out to the left as a receiver on 1st and 10. And here comes a penalty.
False start, number 62, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
That's on veteran guard Harvey Dahl's second Ram penalty. Lost in all of the Saints' success last week with their 62 points. They only had one penalty.
No, they finally put a really perfect game together. And they've been waiting for that. Just a little up and down, both offensively and defensively.
And
last week was just about perfect for them.
Nearing the 2-minute mark here. Thiele looks one way, throws the other, and that is almost intercepted. Patrick Robinson back there covering. It was Jonathan Vilma who said our motto this week is handle success. And that means for the Saints not to let up despite the big win on Sunday night.
Almost a great play by Patrick Robinson. And what else did Vilma tell us? You got to populate the ball. He said, how do you get those turnovers that you guys were able to get a couple of years ago? And of course, Patrick almost got one right there. He said, we got to populate the ball. We got to get, what that means is we got to get Saint helmets, Saint hats around the football more, and good things will happen.
They had 3 takeaways last week. On 2nd down, Steven Jackson, and they bottle him up this time and throw him for a loss. And Roman Harper was back there along with a few other Saints populating the area.
There it is. And you see the attack by the Rams is at the edges, just as we anticipated coming into the game.
And the Saints are going to take a timeout here, so they will have 1 remaining. Rams with a 3-0 lead on a Saints timeout. Let's check in again with Kurt Menefee.
Coming up on the Visa Halftime Report, we'll have the scores and highlights from a haunting Week 8 in the NFL. Find out if Miami can do more than just scare the Giants, and can Indy end its frightful losing streak. Plus the Fox Sports ticker with up to the second stats on the Visa Halftime.
Thanks, Kurt. Ooh, scary. I didn't see Jay Glazer's head on a pumpkin. You could insert your own punchline.
Whoa.
We kid. All right, whoa, what's he upset about?
I think it was inside of one of those pumpkins.
Okay. Well, he should be smiling a little bit more. St. Louis, this town is going to go crazy later today when they have the parade for the World Series champion Cardinals. And, of course, a lot of them in attendance here, as you saw at the beginning, hoping the Rams could stage an upset. Meanwhile, the Saints defense staring at a 3rd and 20, so look out if you're Jay Feely.
Yeah, they're going to hold off and just play coverage here for sure with this long down and distance situation.
And there's a penalty flag from the secondary. Yeah, delay a game.
Offense. Half the distance to the goal. 3rd down.
Unacceptable. Unacceptable after the timeout, and then you come back out and you get a delay of game. And I think if you're Steve Spagnuolo, as good as it's gone and you're only up 3 points, but your confidence level's got to be soaring, you can't go in with a momentum shift. This game's all about momentum and emotion. They need to get it straight here for the next 2 minutes and 25 seconds.
And you know the Saints, unlike the Rams, they can score at the snap of a finger. 3-0 is nothing. 3rd and 24.
Salas in the slot wide open if they want it.
But they go to Jackson. And Steven Jackson will give him some room to punt out across the 20-yard line, but it'll be 4th down for the Rams, and he is fired up. A 16-yard run, and he's having a big day on the ground against this Saints defense.
So he's lighting it up for about 5.5 yards a clip.
And New Orleans takes their last timeout, but they're going to get the football. 66 yards rushing for Steven Jackson so far. We mentioned coming in the last 4 games, he had 400 yards against the Saints and 4 touchdowns.
It's about that guy's mentality. Imagine how hard he's played for many years as the all-time leading rusher here, and where are the wins to pay it all off? Not a lot of them.
The former Charger, Darren Sproles, being used more in New Orleans, or in more ways, than he did in San Diego. And he did a lot in San Diego. Drew Brees helping to recruit Darren Sproles in the offseason when they knew Reggie Bush was moving on. Sproles has it. And nowhere to go. The Rams with nice kick coverage team bottle them up at the 25-yard line. Craig Dahl was the first one there wearing 43. A 54-yard boot with no return. Fox tonight, The Simpsons, all-new Treehouse of Horror is finally here. The Halloween tradition lives on with 4 terrifying tales you'll absolutely die for. The Simpsons, it's all new Treehouse of Horror tonight at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on Fox. It's been a horror for the Saint offense with nothing on the board so far, but Drew Brees still has 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Complete to Lance Moore for a first down, and that should take us to the 2-minute warning. Just short of the 40-yard line, a 15-yard completion. And James Hall of the Ram defensive line coming over to the bench in pain. So we've reached the 2-minute warning. The Rams with a 3-0 lead, but the Saints on the move. James Hall got poked in the eyes back out there for the Rams on the defensive line, and their defense has done a good job on Marcus Colston. He's been thrown to once, no catches for the angular Saint receiver.
And he has been red hot over the last 2 games.
First down for Brees, middle of the field, high, and through the hands of Greg Dahl, and probably should have been intercepted.
Well, Brees had to unload that early because Chris Long was right in his face. What a great job by Chris, spinning back inside, pulling out the old spin move from the left end position, got right in the face of Drew Brees, forces the ball to come out early. When the ball comes out early, it's going to be high. Graham tips it up, and Craig Dahl wants another opportunity to try to catch that.
Devery Henderson also does not have a catch. He splits out to the left for the Saints. They haven't been shut out in a first half this season. Here comes Chris Long again. Third Ram sack of the game.
Now that's more than Drew Brees on average gets sacked per game here in the first half. Chris did it with a spin move on the first time. Watch his hand usage around Charles Brown. He'll knock the hands down, whap right there, and then slide right around him in front of Sproles and finish with his 4th sack. That was huge.
This Ram defense is playing lights, saluting the Cardinals.
Look at him watch it go.
And the Rams
That's
used
great.
a timeout here. So what looked like the Saints on the move, now the Rams hope to get the ball back. They have 2 timeouts remaining, and it's 3rd and 19 for Drew Brees.
Here's the story of this game, and it's right there. Dropbacks, 3 sacks, 5 hits, 2 knockdowns. And you look at the Rams, they've been a team that has missed a bunch of tackles this year. They have missed hardly any tackles in the first half of this game. They've been terrific.
And no turnovers so far. Ball is tipped, intended for Graham.
Yeah, guess who?
4th down there. Chris Long again. Making his dad, the Hall of Famer Howie Long, quite proud.
Oh, he's unstoppable. And you just love a defensive lineman. You hear me say it a lot. They get close, and as soon as that non-throwing hand comes off the ball, that's the cue to Chris Long. Get your hands up. It's coming out. It's exactly what he did. Saw the non-throwing hand, came off the ball, got his hands up, and made another big play.
So now Thomas Morstead. Blocked! In on the block for the Rams. And the ball goes out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. And it was Robert Quinn who got his hands on the ball.
Boy, everything going right today. He's coming off the right edge like a pass rusher. Look at that get off. And he runs right around to Maya, lays out with that big long body, and swats the football.
Listen to this.
It's all going right for the Rams right now. And I'm telling you, that first-round pick has shown up today, Robert Quinn.
Feely Completes to Greg Salas. The ball comes out at the end, but the Rams are on top of it down around the 2-yard line.
Like I said,
Steven Jackson jumped on top of it.
Like I said, it's all going right for the Rams because Salas got sandwiched. That ball came out, and Jackson was right there to pick it up.
1st and goal, Rams. Steven Jackson, touchdown Rams.
How about the passion this team is showing over, everywhere on the field, on the sideline. Steven Jackson just killing it. You know what I say the NFL stands for, the National Fake You Out League. Hard to win Sunday in and Sunday out in this league, and the New Orleans Saints are finding that out right now here in St. Louis.
Steven Jackson with energy. The extra point, and it's 10-0 Rams with 1:10 to go.
Well, here's Salas that set it up, and Steven Jackson gets the fumble recovery. Greg Salas is going to turn around. Now he's going to get sandwiched. Bang, that ball comes out. There's 39. Steven Jackson heads up right there to pick it up. And then the quick hitter to Steven Jackson, who lines up at fullback on that play. Salas at tailback and a little bender just carrying guys into the end zone.
And for Steven Jackson, his 50th career rushing touchdown. He's in elite company with Marshall Faulk and Eric Dickerson. Dickerson 56 and Faulk 58 in Ram history.
He lined up at fullback that time.
Creative Josh McDaniels on the Ram side of things making the call. It isn't even halftime yet, but this is a shocker so far in a number of ways. Not only that the Rams lead, but that the Saints haven't been able to get into the end zone.
Well, they've been all over New Orleans. Now, Drew Brees, not bad. 13 of 18 for 102 yards. They have not been able to get a bunch out of the running game with no Mark Ingram out there today. Chris Ivory is not even running for 3 yards a pop, but more than anything, give the Rams credit for how they played defense.
They don't look like an 0-16. And Sproles brings it out of the end zone. And knocked down at the 17-yard line. The Rams special teams are fired up as Quinn Porter made the stop. And overall in his career, catching, receiving on the all-time touchdown list of the Rams. Look at that impressive list.
A couple of Hall of Famers there, and maybe another 1 or 2 that are going to go in.
Saints are out of timeouts here, so from the 17-yard line, they'll take over 1st and 10.
And there's the guy that set it all up. A couple of big plays by the first-round pick, Robert Quinn. He had the sack a little bit earlier in the second quarter, and then, of course, the big punt block to set up the touchdown.
Breeze, and it's intercepted. At the 37-yard line of the Rams, Josh Gordy, the fill-in corner for the injured Justin King. What's going on here?
Old momentum has decided to hang with the St. Louis Rams on this Sunday. It's going to be a deep route down the sideline. Breeze is going to be out in the pocket, buy a little bit of time, and then he tries to unload this to Devery Henderson, and looks like he was throwing a back shoulder throw. Henderson never came back to the ball, and Josh Gordy did. See, Drew's going to pump fake now. He's going to step up, move in the pocket a little bit. He unloaded that to throw to the back shoulder of Devery Henderson, and Devery Henderson did not come back to the football.
Rams with 2 timeouts. They might be able to get some more points. Pass incomplete for Gibson. It'll be 2nd and 10. A.J. Feely, 9 out of 20. Steven Jackson, 69 rushing yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, he is not happy, Sean Payton, and his counterpart. I know Steve Spagnuolo is. Look, everybody's got this vision of Steve Spagnuolo. He's the nicest guy in the world and everything. It's all good. He will rip guys behind closed doors, and he has with this Rams team, and rip their accountability when a guy's not making a play or doing the right thing. His club has responded.
On 2nd down, another low pass and incomplete. That intended for Salas. It'll be 3rd down. Rams blowing a golden opportunity to try to cash in because the Saints can score quickly on any given Sunday, as they have shown in the past.
Yeah, and Steve Spagnuolo knows that, and they've been able to win the time of possession in this game. But you know what I'm saying about Spag? He's the nicest guy in the world when you talk to him. He is an awesome human being. But I know guys on this team, I know people in that meeting room, and when he gets in there, he's going to call you out, Chris, if you're not getting it right. Very animated behind closed doors.
And Drew Brees will do the same if he has to in his huddle. Complete to Brandon Gibson. First down inside the 25 of New Orleans. And there's a flag down back where A.J. Feely let the ball go from. He may have been hit late.
Even got guys like Adam Goldberg signaling first downs today. Big right tackle. Did you see him there with the big...
There he is, number 73, in for Jason Smith.
Illegal hands to the face, number 93, defense. The penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
14-yard pickup, good enough to put the Rams at the 24 on Junior Galette.
And there's Galette right there with his hand down. Good time for A.J. Feely on this one. He's just going to wait for the man concepts to unfold. Man coverage. Gets swatted right in the face as he unloaded that ball to Gibson.
Blue 80.
Feely's pass for Brandon Lloyd, incomplete. There's a penalty flag as he got wrapped up with Patrick Robinson.
I'm going to get defensive holding here. I'll bet you on Patrick Robinson.
Holding, number 21, defense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
There's the isolation route you're looking for. A good jam right there, but you can't hang on to him as he's trying to release, certainly past 5 yards. That's a good call.
From the 19-yard line, first and 10. Saints defense up against it. Want to keep the Rams out of the end zone, trailing 10-0. 2 timeouts remaining for the Rams.
Look for Lance Kendricks down the middle of the field here.
Brandon Lloyd snatches the ball out of the air, gets down to the 10.
This is the second charge timeout, St. Louis. 30-second timeout.
So the Rams will have 1 timeout remaining. Should be an entertaining Visa halftime coming up with Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, Jimmy, and the guys. All the scores and highlights. The Dolphins trying to win their first game of the year, leading the Giants. Arizona trying to win its second game of the year, leading at Baltimore. And of course, the story here. I want to hear what they have to say about this Saints team and the way this winless Rams team has played.
Incredible. You talk about that Baltimore team. 2 weeks ago, a lot of people were calling them the second best team in the AFC, maybe the most complete team in the AFC. And they ran into Jack Del Rio and those Jags, and Flacco has just been in a funk over the last couple of weeks.
Well, and the Saints team, not just because of what they did Sunday night, the way that they played through the course of the year, their offense, they look like, we talked about, Super Bowl contending.
3-4.
An off day so far.
Blue 80.
On second down, Feely, there's a penalty flag thrown as he slides down around the 6-yard line. Good enough for the first down, pending the flag.
I think this one's going on New Orleans again for illegal hands to the face.
I saw Will Smith pointing the other way.
Illegal hands to the face, number 93, defense. Half the distance to the goal from the end of the run, first down.
Same player, Junior Galette.
And he's lined up in the same spot, left defensive end. And there he is, up under the face mask of Adam Goldberg, almost tearing his helmet off.
Penalties piling up on the Saints. First and goal for the Rams at the 3-yard line. 25 seconds to go and a timeout remaining.
Ball start, number 63, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Jacob Bell, the call, so that 5 will back up the Rams to the 8-yard line now.
See if the Rams try to spread him out with one timeout left and try to slide a run up inside there to Steven Jackson.
Brandon Lloyd goes out to the right. Brandon Gibson to the left.
That's all right, you man. 280.
Feely steps up, tugged at, the ball comes out, and they're ruling it incomplete right away on the field. Junior Galette put the pressure on after battling through those penalties. He knocked the ball loose on Feely's pass attempt.
Good job by Feely, just standing strong and standing in there, because Galette had him wrapped up. Here's Galette again, left in. He's going to turn the corner. Feely's got nowhere to go with the ball. Nice move by Galette, getting the edge. Now look, he's hanging on, he's hanging on, he's hanging on, and Feely with enough strength to stand up to it and unload the ball before he got sacked.
Mike 52. Mark 52. 280.
A.J. Feely, end zone. Brandon Lloyd, touchdown!
What a precision throw. Lloyd inside. Watch, you're going to see a safety come over here. The corner ends up there. Look at the window that Feely throws through. Look at that window. You can't throw it any better if you're A.J. Feely. And what an outstanding route by Brandon Lloyd.
4 catches and the touchdown for Brandon Lloyd. The latest addition to a core that got rocked by the injury early to Danny Amendola. Denario Alexander inactive today. A.J. Feely stepping in for the injured Sam Bradford with the 8-yard touchdown toss to make it 17-0.
They have got this defense on their heels, and they're making all the big plays. The punt block, they were able to do that. They're getting pressure on Drew Brees. That's got to be a huge story. And the story of this guy and what he means to this offense, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago at the Packer game. They lose Danny Amendola. He was by far their most productive guy last year. They need a #1 receiver. That cat right there is a definition, Brandon Lloyd, of a #1 receiver.
And on the other side of things, the Saints have to be stunned. It's one thing for the Rams to get some points. It's another thing for the Saints to be scoreless with 17 seconds remaining in the first half.
Well, look, it's not Drew's first rodeo, and he understands that they've got to get the protection shored up, and they can come and score in a hurry. They are the top scoring team in all of pro football.
Averaging 34 a game coming in, so it's going to be a wild second half when the Saints get their hands on the football, as they will here. And you always have Darren Sproles, who can bust one at any time. He breaks a tackle there and gets out of bounds across the 25-26 yard line. Arian Stewart ran him out of bounds. So the Rams getting a touchdown from Steven Jackson, and then a touchdown toss from A.J. Feely to Brandon Lloyd. Boy, when people thought this would be maybe a lopsided game, Tim, I don't think they thought it would be lopsided in favor of the Rams at this point.
Well, I think this game on paper coming in, we all thought the score would be flipped, maybe more in favor of the New Orleans Saints. Give Steve Spagnuolo and his team some credit. They played outstanding defense. They've gotten the pressure. They got the punt block. A.J. Feely, Steven Jackson, Steven's been outstanding. New Orleans will be okay, though. Like I said, they understand they're in a big-time fight here. They'll go get it right at halftime and come back out full throttle.
The Saints have all their weapons intact, and they should be ready to roll in the second half. At halftime, the Rams leading the Saints 17-0. Surprise continues in St. Louis. The Rams leading 17-0 at the half. The Saints will get the football first, Tim Ryan, but that Ram defense has been tough all day.
Well, you hold this offense scoreless, you're doing something right, and it starts in the middle with James Laurinaitis. He has been everywhere. You saw him in the run game, you saw him in coverage, you saw him there on the sack. He has really been super, and then the pass rush. I mean, Chris Long bringing it around the corner for a sack. Then he gets a bat down. Robert Quinn, the rookie first-round pick, had a big sack. So the defensive line and the linebackers and what they're doing, and Steve Spagnuolo sending the pressure, they have gotten all over Drew Brees in this game.
All right, so how about the Saints? Only 18 yards rushing. They have to throw. That's what they do best. How do they get back in the game, get some touchdowns?
Well, I would like to see him go to the shotgun fast pass. Drew Brees has got more experience than anybody throwing from the shotgun, getting the ball out of his hand, getting it out quick. Marcus Colston doesn't have a catch in the first half, only targeted one time. Darren Sproles only has one catch. They got to get the ball to their playmakers as fast as they can and let them run after the catch.
Follow your favorite NFL team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Josh Brown ready to kick off for the second half. Get the third quarter going. Darren Sproles, who hasn't been able really to give the Saints much field position.
Well, and you know what I'm saying in terms of getting it to your playmakers in space. The Rams have been horrible in terms of their tackling this year. Better today, but they got to give those guys a chance.
Again, knocked down short of the 20, this time at the 15-yard line. And when you look at the numbers, there was the one interception by Brees thrown late, but the blocked punt really helped set the Rams up as well.
That's absolutely right. And then the rushing yards. Look at the contrast in terms of the rushing yards. Unbelievable. Drew Brees last week. I mean, this cat has thrown for, he's going to throw for 300 or 400 yards, it seems like, every week. Last week, 31 of 35. He has more touchdowns than incompletions, and he can't even get to 100 yards in the first half of this game.
And the Saints scored more points last week, 62, than the Rams had all of their season coming in 0-6. Here goes Brees. Pierre Thomas gets out across the 20-yard line. Let's check in down on the field with Jennifer Hayes.
Well, Tim, Chris, Coach Sean Payton was supposed to come down at halftime and address his team. He did not. Instead, Joe Vitt told the Saints they get back in this game one play at a time by playing smart, hard, and fast. On the other side, Coach Spagnuolo told his team this score means nothing. He expects the Saints to be a different team this half, and they need to be ready. Guys?
Thanks, Jennifer. Nice to have you with us. And maybe Spagnuolo's team playing off the energy and excitement of the Cardinals baseball team and their parade later today. Brees, Jed Collins, first down Saints.
And there's one of those missed tackles, and that was an area that did not affect this Rams defense in the first half. They were the worst in the league coming into the game of guys missing tackles. We've seen the Saints come out here on the first couple of plays, get the ball out on time, and give their guys a chance to do something. That time it was Jed Collins, broke the tackle, got the first down.
Josh Gordy with the interception of Drew Brees. On 1st and 10, Pierre Thomas remains the back. He gets the carry and hit right away. Ryan Keel, who's in for the injured Brady Poppinga with the stop.
Tackled in the backfield by number 50, Ryan Keel.
When you're 230 pounds, you better get under the 340-pound offensive guard. And Keel goes right, just knifes right under Carl Nix right there and explodes on the ball carrier, Pierre Thomas.
A loss of 1. Graham is in and splits out on the left with Debry Henderson. Drew Brees goes down. The pressure from Chris Long.
Man, he is feeling it today. Again, it's the speed rush right around the corner. Swats the hands down. And then you even got Jari Evans out there trying to help out Charles Brown. It doesn't get any better than that if you're Chris Long. And he has been able to wear out Charles Brown in this game. And it all starts, Chris, with technique and fundamentals. Getting the hands down, then finishing.
It's also the 4th sack of the season for Chris Long.
And now he's got Charles Brown jumping.
There's a penalty down. Penalty flag marker down.
Ball start. Number 71. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
And see, that's what happens. You get into a guy's head. You beat him around the corner a couple of times. And we've seen 3-4 times that Chris Long has beaten Charles Brown around the corner. And now Charles is worried about it, so he false starts and jumps off early.
Yeah, he was one of the players Sean Payton spoke highly of, and Zach Strief is ready to come off the injured list with that right knee on 3rd and 24. Brees completes, but short of the first down. That is the first catch of the game for Marcus Colston.
Brees pass complete to number 12, Marcus Colston.
Chris Long leading the defense, and they force the Saints to punt.
Gain of 14, 4th and 10.
Morstead, who had the punt blocked by Robert Quinn.
That guy right there on the right end. See him with his left hand down.
Gets this away. Austin Pettis chase it to the sideline, out of bounds at the 27-yard line of the Rams. We're in the third quarter, and the Rams lead 7.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By the new 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee. By Lowe's. Lowe's, never stop improving. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go.
Steve Spagnuolo's team thinking upset. He spoke with Tony La Russa, Cardinal manager, before the game, who was here, and said he inspired him and the entire team. The entire Cardinal team was here with their trophy. Steven Jackson on first down across the 31-yard line. The Cardinals have left this building for their parade, which comes down Market Street in St. Louis and empties into Busch Stadium. There'll probably be more than 1 million people. Right now, Drew Brees is more concerned about getting points on the board for the Saints.
At the Rams 31.
Down here, 56 to the mic. 58 to Mike. Here we go. Blue 80.
Brandon Gibson on the end around and goes out of bounds with a first down. Gibson was asked his favorite Halloween costume as a kid, and he said Spider-Man.
And trick or treat right here on Will Smith, because he is tricked. Watch him as they run this Z reverse. He's the Z receiver. Look at Will Smith. I mean, he's spun down inside, had to turn his back to it. He was lost. He's the edge player that's responsible for that contain. And they tricked him on that one. Remember earlier they ran a little fake reverse. That time they gave it to Brandon Gibson for the nice first down.
An 11-yard pickup. Feely throws and drops. Billy Bajema, normally a blocking tight end.
All right, if you're Bajema, you don't get a lot of opportunities to catch the football. And you just said it. Look at the disappointment on his face. Typically a blocker. You get that opportunity, and A.J. Feely distributes it, throws it perfectly to you. You got to catch it.
Now, if you're the Saints, you talked about Greg Williams' defense. They want takeaway. This is a chance. You need to come up with a takeaway, help your team out, because the offense hasn't been able to get something going. Only 7 takeaways for the year for the Saints defense.
Now, I'd slow down on the blitz and make Feely make great throws versus coverage.
2nd and 10, that's complete. And Austin Pettis holds that in short of the first down. To Kurt Menefee for a game break.
Well, here's something we hadn't seen out of Cam Newton. His first 3-touchdown pass performance as a professional. Hooking up with Steve Smith for a 22-yard score. And Carolina leads Minnesota 21-14. That's reason to dance. Chris and Tim.
Thanks, Kurt.
Camelot. Well, have you heard that one?
Steve Smith, yes, he is having a terrific year. Cam Newton has revived his career. This time it's Greg Salas, the rookie from Hawaii, for a first down.
I love the fact the Rams are playing loose. What do you got to lose? They're pulling out all stops. They do not fool Will Smith this time, as Will Smith is hanging out there, and he's going to be the contained player. Feely ends up blocking him, forces the ball up inside. There's enough blocks everywhere else, and right there, the cut inside, forcing Jabari Greer to slip and fall down. Will Smith did his job that time. Greer came up and slipped and missed the tackle, thus giving him the first down.
From the 43 of New Orleans, Steven Jackson cuts back to about the 40. Jackson with a touchdown run in the first half. 76 yards rushing so far. Now the Rams are playing keep away.
Well, and they haven't been able to do that all year. Think about Steven Jackson in the second half of football games. You really neutralize your best player because your defense hadn't been able to hold up, in first halves, and you're down and you exclusively go to a throwing attack. Completely the opposite today. They are going to ride this dude for the rest of the game a lot.
Yeah, Mike 51, Blue 80.
Feely completes and knocked down right there at the 40. Lance Kendricks, the rookie tight end, and Tracy Porter was with him. That's Kendricks' first catch of the game. Scrimmage yards for Steven Jackson. He has moved up on the all-time Ram list. That's running, receiving, everything just past the great Marshall Faulk. right behind a couple of great receivers from the greatest show on turf. 3rd and 6.
No. 58 to Mike.
Steven Jackson has it. Does not have the first down, just inside the 35, and Patrick Robinson wouldn't let him go.
It's a heck of a tackle by Patrick Robinson, because that is a size mismatch.
And they're going to go for it here.
Steven Jackson at about 235. Just a quick little throw out. Steven Jackson tries to spin it inside. Look how big that lower body is, and Patrick Robinson just hanging on, waiting for some help from Vilma. Keeps him short of first down.
6'2", 240. On 4th and 2, they threw last time to Salas. Jackson this time. Look out! Malcolm Jenkins saved a touchdown, a 32-yard run on 4th down for Jackson.
Watch the block by Lance Kendricks right there. He's going to get help with Saffold, and then he's going to go get a double block and kick it out. Look, they double down. Now he goes and gets the backer, and look at the running lane for Steven Jackson. You cannot block it any better if you're number 88, the tight end Lance Kendricks. That was outstanding.
Cadillac Williams checks in on 1st and goal. Cadillac Williams knocked down. For Steven Jackson, 107 yards rushing, his 28th career 100-yard rushing game. So he's second on the all-time Ram list behind Eric Dickerson. And he comes back in.
He is a beast. Look at that guy. He will light you up.
Sean Payton frustrated. What do you make of the Jennifer's report that he didn't come back down to see his team at the half?
I think he's got a really bad wheel. And you know how it is trying to get around in this stadium at times. He didn't want to get caught. No problem with that.
Steven Jackson, touchdown Rams.
That's the worst nightmare for the Saints in the letdown game, and something Jonathan Vilma talked about yesterday that you can't let happen. It's happening right before their eyes.
Josh Brown's extra point. Steven Jackson with 2 touchdown runs today, 4 for the year. A stunner in the making.
The touchdown, Chris. Watch Adam Goldberg right there. He is just going to wall off Seth Ellis, and you're going to get a seal block right here from Illini Mike. The action pulls the backer inside, and then watch Steven Jackson. Same play they ran earlier for the touchdown, just bend it right back into that alley, and there's nobody for Steven Jackson. That's the same play they ran earlier for the touchdown, just from a different formation. And there's the guy who had the big wall-off block right there, Adam Goldberg.
110 yards for Jackson, averaging 6.5 a carry in this game. Darren Sproles will bring it out. And cut down just past the 15-yard line by Craig Dahl. Steven Jackson and the winless Rams pushing the Saints around.
Game is sponsored by Verizon. Get coverage of every NFL game on NFL Mobile. Call Star NFL from your Verizon phone to get NFL Mobile.
Tim Ryan, Chris Myers, the Rams with 4 sacks today. That's a season high, and Chris Long is part of that. Drew Brees, 5 touchdown passes last Sunday night, trying to get the Saints on the board. They haven't been inside the Ram 30. They're going to run with Chris Ivory here on first down. And Tim, when we met with Drew Brees and Sean Payton and Jimmy Graham and Jonathan Vilma yesterday, there was no indication that the Saints were either overconfident or didn't realize the challenge ahead for them coming to this game.
No, they had a great week of practice and no indicators whatsoever. I got to tell you, as a player, a lot of times this onslaught happens and this is going down. They're trying as hard as they can. You're not even aware of it, why it's happening. But I know this, enough of Drew Brees under center. Start getting him in the shotgun and letting him get the ball out of his hands.
And he does to Lance Moore near the first down marker.
I mean, this game's far from over. It's 24-0. Yeah, it looks bad, but that's the #1 scoring offense in the league. Certainly one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League that can distribute the ball all over the place to weapons. They spread them out, Chris. They can get some isolation matchups that are very favorable in their passing game.
And all we have is the history of the Saints to go on so far this season. That data versus today and the emotionally charged Rams. On first down, handoff to Sproles, trying to find room. Feet working fast, but stopped just over the 30-yard line. Sproles has 1 catch. Colston has 1 catch. And Jimmy Graham has just 2 catches.
Again, I'm no coach, but put the ball in your quarterback's hands, let him spread it out, let him pick the advantageous matchup and deliver the football. With these corners, Gordy, who wasn't even on the roster at the beginning of September, Al Harris, who's 36 years old.
They're going to run with Darren Sproles. Slips down just short of where the first down marker is. And that'll bring up a third down for the Saints, and they'll need 1. There's Al Harris, who will be 37 years old in December.
And I understand you've been sacked 4 times. There's Josh Gordy right there. The pressure is an issue. But Drew Brees can get the ball out of his hands in about 2 seconds. He'll neutralize that rush.
Ivory spins, but does not have the first down. And Josh Gordy wouldn't let him get through. Are the Saints going to go for it here, trailing 24-0?
No, they're going to punt. All kinds of time left in this game, but the more run opportunities that you see, the more this baby right here just starts ticking away.
And the other part of it is the Saints defense hasn't been able to stop the Rams and Steven Jackson. Just over 3 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Morstead had 1 blocked, first time since 2003. Gets it away. And inside the 10, an excellent punt that goes out of bounds at the Rams' 6-yard line. Morstead with a clutch kick of 58 yards after the Saints offense sputters. A tremendous defensive effort by the Rams again. Al Harris standing up. That's Josh Gordy with his first career interception in the first half. And the Ram offense has scored the last 3 times they've got the football. On first down, it's Cadillac Williams, and the Saints are there to bottle them up.
Cadillac Williams, the ball carrier.
A.J. Feely starting a 2nd straight game for Sam Bradford, and Brees going through the photos there.
Well, you know those photos. There's 2 shots of every play. There's a photo right before the snap, and then there's a photo right when the quarterback's non-throwing hand comes off and he's getting ready to unload it, to give the clear picture of what it looks like pre-snap and then what the defense looks like. And that's what Drew's looking at right before he gets ready to unload the football.
There's a flag.
Ball start, number 63, offense. Half the distance to the goal. Still 2nd down.
Rams' 5th penalty.
Look at that. Last 3 possessions, 3 touchdowns. The previous 39, 3 touchdowns. Wow. Say they kind of found their groove here so far tonight.
Feely for Bajamo, the tight end, knocked down short of the 10-yard line. It'll be 3rd down. Steven Jackson, they were checking, looked like a hand injury over on the Ram bench. 17 carries for Steven Jackson, 110 yards. He's got 2 touchdowns on the ground. Also has caught 3 passes.
And what's interesting, and we talked about it before the game started, where the attack would be. It would be on the edges, and that's exactly where it's been. And historically, Steven Jackson has been great between the tackles up the middle. Not the case today.
Saints defense needs a play on 3rd and 6. Here comes pressure. And Feely, the ball's out. The ball is out at the goal line, and the Saints have a touchdown. Jonathan Vilma with the fumble recovery. Malcolm Jenkins forced the fumble, and Vilma on top of it for the first points of the game for New Orleans.
Boy, did they need that. And this one's on the quarterback, A.J. Feely. There's an unblocked player coming right here. Jonathan Casillas off the edge. We've seen this look already a few times today. Malcolm Jenkins is going to come from this side. Feely's got to turn and unload this ball. Cadillac Williams steps up and gets Casillas. Malcolm Jenkins is the one that comes flying in there unblocked, knocks it out. And then there's the recovery by Jonathan Vilma.
All scoring plays, as you know by now, watched by the officials, but Jonathan Vilma, who said there's only one thing worse than not practicing, and it's watching practice, missed much of the week with the knee problem. There's Malcolm Jenkins, who helped cause that fumble. And what do we say about, the Saints were harping on, when you relate to the year that they won the Super Bowl, turnover, scoring on defense, going and taking the football away. And a tough break for the Rams and A.J. Feely as they review the Saints' defensive touchdown. Here in St. Louis, Tim Ryack, Chris Myers, and the play being reviewed by the officials. The sack fumble recovery. Saints ruled a touchdown.
And clearly a touchdown. Look, Malcolm Jenkins knocks it out. Will Smith falls on it, but he doesn't get it. Goes into the end zone where Vilma recovered it.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. It is a fumble and a recovery. New Orleans touchdown.
So the Saints will try it out an extra point.
What a clever blitz as Cadillac Williams goes over to the left to block Casillas, which leaves Malcolm Jenkins unblocked coming up inside. There you see him knock it out. Will Smith thought he had it on the 1. He was not able to corral the football, and that's when Vilma picked it up and punched it in.
So 41-year-old John Casey, who earlier missed a 49-yard field goal. That was the Saints' best offensive scoring chance. The defense gets him into the end zone. 1:21 to go here in the 3rd quarter.
And if you're A.J. Feely, you got to get the ball out of your hands or just take the sack at that point of the field.
The Saints will be kicking off to the Rams, and A.J. Feely with a 24-7 deficit. It's a doubleheader next Sunday on the NFL on Fox. The Buccaneers will be going to the Superdome in New Orleans. Seahawks and Cowboys. And then America's Game of the Week, Giants and Patriots. The Rams will get the Cardinals, who were leading today at Baltimore, and the Packers at San Diego. Boy, Rivers and Rodgers. What a matchup there. Fox NFL Sunday begins with a pregame show at 12 Eastern, 9 Pacific. But still some work to do here as Thomas Morstead gets ready to kick off to Quinn Porter. The NFL leader in touchbacks adds to that, so the Ram offense comes out to the 20. Get coverage of every NFL game on NFL Mobile. Call ** NFL to get NFL action right on your phone, wherever you are and whoever you root for.
I love that thing. Last week I was on the flight home, and no televisions, no anything. I'm at 36,000 feet watching games on the NFL Mobile app on my phone.
A nice endorsement from Tim Ryan. Steven Jackson back in at running back. Gets the carry. His 18th carry of the game.
Steven Jackson, the ball carrier. Tackled by Dunbar.
The Rams were able to take advantage after a blocked punt, get a touchdown. Brandon Lloyd, who certainly has been a nice addition, has 4 catches in the game, a touchdown toss from A.J. Feely. Jackson adds another touchdown, a field goal in between, and that's how the Rams got their points. And moments ago, a turnover. Feely to throw to Greg Salas, who is wrapped up short of the 25-yard line by Scott Shanley. It'll be third down.
That's a heck of a job by Feely. A little trickeration getting it out. Now, great defense by the Saints. Not giving any opportunity for some run after the catch there, but they're pulling out all the stops. Little fake reverse that time, and then fading out and throwing a little screen there.
Clock winding down here in the third quarter. Even the Ram fans, I was out in the walkway at halftime, they're stunned. But it's not over yet with a 24-7 Ram advantage as we're going to go to the fourth quarter. Can the Saints rally? The Rams are facing a third down. Fox NFL Sunday continues in a moment. The Saints dealing with the shock of a visit to St. Louis, where the winless Rams, who had led only 6.5 minutes their entire season.
Now, this is a huge third down right here. Now, you convert it. If you're St. Louis, you start chewing on that clock and limiting those opportunities for Drew Brees and the boys. Saints have to have a stop here.
Pressure is picked up, and the pass is a big drop by Brandon Lloyd. He had not only a first down, but room to run.
Yeah, he may still be running to the end zone for a 78-yard touchdown or 75-yard touchdown.
And he knows
it, absolutely. And he's going to run an in route here. And really, the ball is thrown perfectly from A.J. Feely. Little man coverage, so they cross up those 2 defenders. And I think he was thinking 6 with all that open room around him and just dropped it.
So maybe a shift in momentum for the Saints. Sproles backs up inside his 20. And Darren Sproles gets out across the 33-yard line. Quinn Porter making the tackle, but good field position for Drew Brees, who will have to rally the Saints.
Today's game is sponsored by Dr. Pepper. With 23 flavors, Dr. Pepper is always one of a kind. By Windows 7. And by Chevrolet and their award-winning cars, trucks, and crossovers.
Ram tight end Lance Kendricks headed to the locker room with an injury. Has 1 catch so far in the game.
I'll tell you where they miss him is going to be in the run game. We've seen him have some outstanding blocks today, and that could end up being a huge drop for Brandon Lloyd there on that third down.
Pierre Thomas the back at 1st and 10. And he carries and is up near a New Orleans first down. Now, you would like to see Brees spread the field and throw the ball, get some extra defensive backs on the field for the Rams.
Well, you need to score, and you need to score quick. And I understand that St. Louis is not good in run defense. That story's been told all year long. But I also know that Marquise Johnson just got activated off the PUP. Rod Hood just got here a couple of weeks ago, didn't even play last year.
And they're going with 2 fullbacks again.
I would spread them out and attack those matchups.
2nd and 1. Pierre Thomas. See, the clock is continuing to run here. And it looks like it's going to be 3rd and short.
Yeah, and you just said it. And there's the numbers through 3 quarters. This is the one that's tremendously surprising right there with the 4 sacks. 30 rushing yards. Clearly they haven't been able to run the ball with a great deal of success. And the more they run it, Chris, the more that right there ticks away.
Chris Ivory. First down, Saints. They brought in Pat McQuiston as the extra tight end. David Thomas inactive, so they had Gilmore Graham and gave it to Ivory.
Gain of 6.
13 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. And that group has done a great job today against what was the top scoring offense in the NFL coming in. Brees completes. That's a first down to Jim Graham.
I am shocked with all these close formations. As many weapons as they have, and Drew Brees can throw it in every zone on the field. Here's a great job of Drew on the move. Chris Long's got him hemmed up, slips underneath and keeps his eyes down the field and finds Jimmy Graham.
Remember, he told us, Drew Brees, that he in practice works on throwing not just without a rush from the moving pocket so that he can be comfortable. We're going to run second down to Sproles inside the 40. Check in with Kurt Menefee for a game break.
I guess the Saints are trying to pull the Ravens, huh? Baltimore once down 24-3, have come all the way back. Ray Rice, 3 second-half touchdowns. That one put the Ravens on top, 27-24. 24 unanswered. Chris and Tim.
Thanks, Kurt. And at one point here, it was 24-0 before the Saints got a defensive touchdown on 2nd and 7. Brees tipped away at the last moment by James Laurinaitis.
Yeah, guess who? Laurinaitis.
He was trying to get it to Jimmy Graham.
Laurinaitis is so clever, so intelligent. His FBI is football intelligence. And watch him here. He's going to buzz this way, and then he's going to realize it's coming back the other way, so he spins his body around and gets right in the throwing lane. See, now he goes that way. Now he's going to end up... he was just all over it the whole way. He knew exactly what route they were running pre-snap and got his hands on it for a pass breakup.
6 defensive backs for the Rams. 3rd down, Saints.
Meacham just jumped.
False start, number 17, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
4th Saints penalty, and the crowd may have had something to do with that. So a critical 3rd down. Now is this 4-down territory for the Saint offense?
I think a lot of that, Chris, depends on what they're able to pick up here.
That's a first down to Colston inside the 20 of the Rams. Brees made it happen.
Boy, we've seen him just get on his horse and just move around just enough in the pocket. Watch Drew here as he moves out to his left. Feels the pressure coming up inside. Now watch him square his shoulders, square him up, square to the line of scrimmage, off the run, and deliver a strike. Look at those square shoulders, the line of scrimmage to Colston sitting down in between the defenders versus the zone.
And that's Charles Brown, the right tackle, the injured player for the Saints. The Saints are inside the Rams 20, 1st and 10, trailing by 17. Charles Brown was able to get up and walk over to the sideline, so replacing him at right tackle Pat McQuiston, the 6'6" free agent who had been with Dallas and Miami, on 1st and 10. Darren Sproles inside the 15 now of the Rams. That's his 6th carry of the game. Pierre Thomas has carried 6 times. Chris Ivory, activated with Mark Ingram out, has carried 6 times.
So you got to wonder when it's time to go to Jimmy Graham, don't you? I mean, 6'6", almost 270 pounds. And a matchup advantage right there at the top of the screen.
Drew Brees completes to Colston. First down inside the 5. What happened to Graham?
Well, he got jammed up. Here's the old 36-year-old Al Harris. Watch him get his hands on him. All guys that are bigger than you better punch them up at the line of scrimmage. Kind of throw that timing off. And Drew Brees, once that jam happened, he never looked, turned his eyes right to Colston from the get-go and delivered a strike versus the zone.
First time in the red zone for the Saints today. Pierre Thomas, touchdown Saints. his second touchdown run of this season. And the Saints, with the extra point, can get to within 10.
Just cleared it out up front. Brian De La Puente was able to get to the second level on the linebacker. Here's De La Puente, and then he gets help from Carl Nix. And that's a huge hole for Pierre Thomas to run through.
That quieted down the crowd. Do you sense a momentum shift?
Absolutely. Ever since that drop by Brandon Lloyd kind of took the air out of this stadium.
The Jonathan Vilma fumble recovery helped as well. But the Pierre Thomas touchdown run as the Saints trailing by 10 in the fourth quarter.
Today's game is sponsored by Chevrolet and their award-winning cars, trucks, and crossovers.
Morstead to kick off for New Orleans. Quinn Porter to receive for the Rams.
We welcome you back in St. Louis, and in case you're wondering, trailing 24-0 at one point today, the Saints' greatest comeback in team history was their Super Bowl year in 2009. They trailed the Dolphins by 21, wound up winning 46-34. 10 minutes left here as Thomas Morstead kicks off. Quinn Porter in the end zone, so from the 20-yard line, they will take over 1st and 10. So the Rams have the football. The winless Rams with a 10-point lead here in the fourth quarter. How do you think they play it offensively?
Well, I think they got to do what they've been doing. Now, they did lose Lance Kendricks. He goes into the locker room with an injury. That's going to hurt their blocking up front because he's been terrific. But you can't get conservative now. Continue to run at the edges. Continue with the play-action pass from A.J. Feely, and then get it to your best guy, Brandon Lloyd. Despite the drop on the big third down, you got to still feed number 83.
And, Tim, if you're the Saints defensively, we'll see how they play it if they want to apply pressure. And here they don't. Steven Jackson with the catch. The Rams stop him at the 26-yard line. It'll be second down.
Well, and I think that's one thing that they've done less of here in the second half, the pressure. Now, they got the touchdown with the full-out blitz, and Malcolm Jenkins came unblocked. But when you go back to the first half, they were sending pressure almost every throwing down. A.J. Feely got a feel of it, and he was breaking it down and hitting the guys that are out there to beat the blitz. So it's been a little more of a mix-up call by Greg Williams, and it's been effective here later in the game.
2nd and 4. Jackson as a receiver in the slot. He's moving behind Feely. And he gets the carry. And Steven Jackson has room for a first down and a lot more. Jabari Greer had to run him out of bounds after a gain of 20.
And guess what? You got guys that are blitzing. Watch the top of your screen.
20-yard gain.
Look at that. Joe Dunbar runs himself right out of the play. Now you got Jabari Greer, a corner, sitting in the hole trying to stop 240-pound Steven Jackson. That time the blitz got bit.
So now the Rams go with 3 tight ends from the 46-yard line on 1st and 10. Jackson carries and cut down right across the 45 by Patrick Robinson, and there's a penalty flag down as Jackson comes over to the bench. We apologize for the microphone not working properly on referee Walt Anderson. It was against the Rams. And so that first down run accepted by the Saints will back them up.
How bad do you think that dude right there, Steven Jackson, wants a victory? I mean, everybody in this stadium for the Rams are coaches, players, but the determination on his face, it's obvious. We've seen him very animated a few times here today.
An 8-year veteran who has suffered through a lot of the losing years with the Rams, but has done his part week in and week out. So 1st and 25, back at now the 31-yard line with Cadillac Williams the back. And Brandon Lloyd had a shot at it, but excellent coverage over there with Patrick Robinson on the spot. Let's check in again with Kurt Menefee.
Eli Manning and the Giants take their first lead in the ball game, and it's late in the fourth quarter. Manning hooking up with Victor Cruz, who just fights his way into the end zone against the Dolphins. Giants trying to hold on. Under 4 minutes left, up 20-17. Trying to keep Miami winless. Chris and Tim.
When is Eli Manning going to get the credit, Chris, he deserves? I mean, he is having a super season for the Giants.
Giants are winning. The Ravens are winning. Can the Saints rally?
It's the pressure again.
That's Brandon Lloyd, the Porter over there. And Tracy Porter, as Saints fans know, for all he does in the rest of his career. The interception against the Vikings in the championship game and Brett Favre, and then, of course, against Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's the one. That pick six. And remember when he was like yesterday at the Senior Bowl, nobody thought that kid out of Indiana wanted to come tackle. Nobody thought that he was going to be what he is, and he has exploded at the start of his career and really done some great things.
And he may be on the spot here on 3rd and 21 for the Rams.
Love the way Brandon Lloyd stayed inbounds when he went down there to keep this clock going.
And looked like one of the Rams, Roger Saffold, may have jumped. And it is against the Rams' false start. Again, apologize for that microphone.
Look at Steven Jackson. He is not having it. We are not going to beat ourselves. Look at him. Look at him.
Did
I tell you he was determined?
I can hear him from up here. But now it's 3rd and 26.
I'm running through a brick wall from that guy.
And Jackson carries and has room across the 40 to the 46-yard line. The field position game as the Rams will be forced to punt after a 16-yard run. He's up near 150 yards rushing today.
And he is going to slam 240 pounds right into your living room. Good blocking up front by Goldberg. Look at the vision, the cuts, the hops. He's always been such a great jump cutter. And I'm telling you, he is going to will this team to a victory. If he has any control of it, he's not going to get caught hurting themselves like they've just done a couple of times with some bad penalties.
And there's a whistle and a flag. He's still working the Rams.
Well, he's not going to stop until the final whistle blows.
Donnie Jones will have to back up a little bit to the 40. That's where they'll snap the ball from. 7 penalties on the Rams today. Make that 8 since that was accepted. 4 on the Saints, and there's Darren Sproles. And boy, the Saints would love him to bust one here.
I might put Steven Jackson on defense. Let him go play a little bit on that side of the ball.
There was a fair catch called for, so there is going to be a flag on the Rams because coming down to hit him was Brian Keel after Sproles clearly waved for the fair catch.
Yeah, and another stupid penalty and self-inflicted wound. Now you got to go talk to Steven Jackson on the sideline.
So let's show the infraction on Brian Keel.
And you said it. I mean, a clear wave by Darren Sproles for the fair catch. He had already, there's the wave right there, one swipe, and then there's Keel who lowers the boom on him.
Steven Jackson has carried the Rams to a 10-point lead. First down, Saints. Breeze with a flip and incomplete. Did a lot to avoid a sack, and coming into today, Drew Brees throwing a touchdown pass in 34 consecutive regular season games. He does not have one so far in this one.
Well, it's because of that pass rush has been in his face. Chris Long's going to get a great rush. A great rush right there by Bannon. Now watch Robert Quinn as he comes flying from the outside. That's C.J. Ayu, a tackle. Spin back inside and get on Drew as he tries to unload it. That pass rush has been on fire for this Rams team today.
Incomplete. Darian Stewart in on Robert Meacham. It's 3rd and 10.
Trying to scissor it right in between the zone. Very, very good coverage. Tell you, if there's one guy defensively all year long. It's that second-year player right there, Darian Stewart, who's been pretty darn consistent.
Incomplete. He was trying to get it to Devery Henderson.
They can't block Chris Long. They cannot block Chris Long. You got McQuiston out here. There's McQuiston. Watch the inside move by Chris Long here. Look at his get off the football. Whapped upfield, gets chipped inside, and able to force Drew Brees forcing Drew Brees outside of the pocket. And that's what you do to a guy that's having a great day. You chip him. You use your tight end. You try to get two guys on him. That time, to the detriment of Drew Brees, they chipped him inside, and Chris Long was able to get big-time pressure.
It was James Laurinaitis in the first half. Chris Long in the second half. The Ram defense trying to close out the victory. Fair catch inside the 25-yard line, where the Ram offense, with just over 6 minutes to go, will have a first down. Coming up after our football coverage, go behind the scenes with Cain Velasquez and Junior Dos Santos. They prepare to go head-to-head in the heavyweight championship of the world. UFC Primetime follows football right here on Fox.
Well, you know, we often talk about the 4-minute drill and salting a game away and using your running game, chewing up the clock. It's going to go right on that guy right there, Steven Jackson. He's going to have the opportunity with his determination and his will and that heart pounding in his chest right now to put this team on his back and finish.
His career high, 179 yards rushing. Jackson, tough yards. Each team with 3 timeouts.
Yep, there's a little highlighted. Each highlight there is a little tab is a timeout left. As you said, both teams with 3.
They're going to milk that clock. The Saints never led in this football game. Trailed 24-0 at one point before Greg Williams' blitz defense got a fumble and Vilma with a recovery for a touchdown. And then a Pierre Thomas touchdown run. But Steven Jackson has 2 scores and Feely a touchdown.
For a weak side run to the left side here.
Jackson looking for a hole, and the Saints stop him at the 30. So it'll bring up a pivotal 3rd down for Sean Payton's defense. It looks like a timeout used by the Saints. Trying to protect that clock. Now, if you're the Rams, do you dare put it in the air?
What a helpless feeling for Sean Payton sitting up there. And I know he's got the headset and he can be in communication, but there's so much more to a face-to-face encounter with your guys on the sideline. He's got to be going nuts.
Well, and he loves play calling as much as anything. It's any part of his job. And Pete Carmichael calling the plays for the 2nd straight game, going through Joe Vitt. But Drew Brees is your guy on the field, and he knows the plays as well as anybody.
Well, Drew Brees can't do it by himself. That's the problem. And his offensive line, Chris, has let him down today. And it's not like the Rams coming in were this juggernaut as a pass rushing team. Today they have been.
The Rams with 4 sacks. 3 tight ends on 3rd down. Feely keeps and throws. And
what a catch.
Yes, and he stayed in bounds. Brandon Lloyd.
What a catch.
Who had the drop earlier, but comes up big here.
What a catch. I mean, he is sliding on the ground, and watch him pluck this out of the air. He's going to go slide down, and look at him pluck that in bounds for the catch. Let's see if there's any type of review coming here from the Saints sideline, hoping maybe that ball hit the ground, although I don't think it did. Even if it did, it didn't move at all. That is a great catch.
A 16-yard completion. As importantly, a first down as Steven Jackson carries. And the clock runs. Saints defense got him in the position they wanted, but Lloyd made a spectacular catch. 2nd down, and we'll call it 3 after a 7.5-yard gain for Jackson.
I don't think we've given A.J. Feely enough credit for what he's been able to do in this game
Josh
today.
McDaniels, his offensive coordinator. who had a lot to do with bringing Brandon Lloyd over from Denver to this Ram team.
Good sign there. Lance Kendricks is back in the game at tight end.
Jackson carries. It'll be 3rd down.
And they ran right behind him.
Jackson, the ball carrier.
And the Saints are going to use another timeout. So they'll have 1 remaining. Next week, the NFL on Fox with a doubleheader. The Saints will be hosting the Buccaneers, who are idle this week. Seahawks will take on the Cowboys. Other NFL games early. Then America's game of the week, the Giants and the Patriots. The Giants did defeat Miami 20-17, so the Dolphins still winless. The Rams will take on the Cardinals, and some will see Aaron Rodgers and Phillip Rivers and the Packers-Chargers. It all starts with Fox NFL Sunday.
I'll tell you the team I'm shocked about are the San Francisco 49ers. And of course, they have run away with the division for the first half of the season. You look at every division in football, and they're all congested with the exception of the NFC West.
And how do you figure this league? The Cowboys, who play the Eagles tonight, just shredded the Rams last week.
You don't try to figure it.
And
you just enjoy it.
The Rams on 3rd and 4. Jackson, and they stop him short. That was Roman Harper with a big stop. And you look at the Saints, who wanted to get to the halfway mark with a 6-2 record. They're going to get Tampa next. Then they play Atlanta. And, of course, Carolina in a battle today, trailing Minnesota. That is a tough division. Quarterbacks galore. Darren Sproles back to receive. Donnie Jones inside his 40 to punt. Letting the clock run. Fair catch called for at the 18.5-yard line.
30-yard punt.
Just over the 3-minute mark. And Steve Spagnuolo's Rams 0-6 coming in.
What do you think his heart rate is right now?
I can feel it pounding up here.
Look at him. He's spitting.
And you talk about the Cardinals.
No big plays. Did you read his lips right there? No big plays. We cannot give up a big play. No explosion plays. And those are the plays of 20+. Clearly had his team ready to play this game for the first 57 minutes. It's been outstanding. The next 3 minutes, Chris, are going to tell the whole story.
Intercepted! Darian Stewart! Touchdown Rams! There's a flag in the end zone.
Look at Steve Spagnuolo. He's yelling. So someone listen to me on the headset. Oh, what a play by Darian Stewart. He read the quarterback's eyes the whole way.
Number 73, New Orleans, kicking the football into the stands. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
The penalty was on Jari Evans of the Saints. Unsportsmanlike after the frustration.
And Spags is not going to let up. He's going to keep coaching.
That was the first return for a touchdown in 32 games for the Rams. Any kind of return. Last one, Leonard Little in 2009. And that might just seal it.
And I told you, if there's one guy that's been playing really consistent all year long, it's been Darian Stewart, the second-year safety.
His first career touchdown, and the extra point makes it 31-14.
And what did Steve Spagnuolo say in reading his lips? No big plays. Let's go. No big plays. And they get a big play on their own. And here's the guy. Drew trying to get it to Jimmy Graham. He reads the eyes of the quarterback as he went to unload it. And just like I say with defensive linemen when they go to block a pass, zone defenders do the same thing, Chris. As soon as that non-throwing hand comes off, they make their break. It was an outstanding break driving on the football by Darian Stewart.
People watching this game have to be stunned that the Saints offense was not able to produce more points. Second interception of the game for Breeze. Only 181 yards passing.
Look, their offensive line was in a funk today, period. There's just no other way that you can cut it. They didn't open big running lanes against a team that gave up almost 300 yards to the Cowboys last week, and they didn't protect the passer.
And so now with the penalty tacked on, Josh Brown will be kicking from up at the 50-yard line.
And you couple that with what they did against Indianapolis, and I said it when I was talking to the guys on the pregame show. You know, a big part of those 62 points was that offensive line blocking Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis. They have been hammered today by Chris Long and Robert Quinn.
And James Laurinaitis, an inspired defense. Everybody stepped up. Josh Gordy with an interception. Stewart's return for a score moments ago.
Big block punt by Robert Quinn.
Sail through the end zone, and the Saints will get the ball out at the 20-yard line.
Watch what Laurinaitis has been able to do. He has been the catalyst for this defense. There he is in the run game. There he is in the passing game, getting in the throwing lane. Here he is on an inside pressure, getting a big hit on Drew Brees. There he is now with the same pressure on the next drive, getting a sack, getting his hand on the ball there in front of Jimmy Graham, and then bang. I love that pose.
8 tackles for James Laurinaitis. That was almost intercepted by Al Harris. Thrown behind Lance Moore.
And you see what pressure does even against the greatest quarterbacks. And Drew Brees is elite, and he's right up at the top of the list. They get happy feet, and they take risk, and they unload the football and put it up in harm's way. And Al Harris should have had himself one right here with off coverage. It was right to him. But that's what pressure does, even to the greatest quarterbacks. They're going to make mistakes when you turn up the heat.
Sproles with the catch. It'll be 3rd down. Laurinaitis in on another tackle. So the Saints have 1 timeout remaining. They'll have the 2-minute warning on 3rd and 4. Devery Henderson with a first down catch. And that's his first catch of the game.
Praise complete to Henderson. 1st and 10 yards.
Sproles gets out of bounds at the 35-yard line, right at the 2-minute mark. The Rams shocking the Saints with 2 minutes to go in the 4th quarter, 31-14. With Tim Ryan, Chris Myers at 2nd and 9 for the Saints. Drew Brees to Graham, right at the first down marker. And for Drew Brees, a couple of streaks in jeopardy. Not only 34 consecutive games with a touchdown pass, but he has thrown for 300 yards or more in 5 straight.
And the Rams are just going to sit back in the shell coverage.
And he gets sacked for the 5th time today, and Chris Long with another one.
Chris has been able to whip that offensive tackle, and it doesn't matter whether it's Charles Brown or Pat McQuiston to the outside. He's been able to do it to the inside. This time he'll take an inside charge, go right inside of Pat McQuiston. They were sitting in that cover 2 coverage, everybody locked up, 2 deep safeties, nowhere for Brees to go for the football.
On 4th down, that'll be a first down catch as Brees is over 200 yards passing. But as we were mentioning, that string of 300 yards or more in 5 straight games is in jeopardy, along with the touchdown string of at least 1 scoring pass in 34 straight games.
And don't think for a minute, these guys want to win for themselves, but Chris Long, don't think for a minute they don't want to get a win for their head coach, Steve Spagnuolo. That's obvious and evident when you see these guys relate with one another. Chris Long has been nothing short of outstanding.
Pass is caught by Sproles. He's going to get a Ram hanging on him, Darian Stewart, the entire time. Yeah, the Rams with 5 sacks. And of course, they had the 2 interceptions. And defense was the one thing Spagnuolo said, I can't figure it out when they were spiraling out of control.
Drew Brees coming into the game 1 sack every 23 attempts. Today, 1 every 8.
Lance Moore on the catch.
Think about that. Every time Drew has dropped back to pass, every 8th time he's getting sacked. Coming into the game, it was 1 every 23. That's the story.
And whatever it is, the Rams figured it out on defense, and that's Spagnuolo's roots.
What I love about it, though, is it's not a manufactured pass rush. They generated pass rush, Chris, which means they basically have just beat down the guy in front of them.
Sproles slips out of bounds after making the catch. 38 seconds to go here. The Saints will be home with Tampa Bay at Atlanta. Then they get their bye.
And I think if you look at the Rams' schedule, and they got to win the month of November. They finally are going to get some relief in their schedule as you look at it. They've got Arizona, they've got Cleveland, they've got Seattle, they've got Arizona again. What a momentum roll that they may have going into the month.
When Breeze tries to run, they bottle him up. Fred Robbins. You know, you said what happened to the Saints when they lost to Tampa? It was turnovers and pressure on Breeze by the Buccaneers, and that's what the Rams were able to do here today.
Look, and we saw some blitz early in terms of the pressure
New Orleans, 30 seconds.
from Steve Spagnuolo, and he was able to get home with it. But really, since then, Spags has counted on keeping 7 guys in coverage and rushing with 4, and he has got huge dividends paid off.
Our producer today, Mike Burks, Director Tom Yohe, Associate Director Brian Biederman, Broadcast Associate Matt Saldano, Mark Sosna working in the truck as well. James Petralka and Emmett McGuire up here in the booth helping us out. And all the cameramen and Frank Phillips, our tech manager, who works so hard every weekend to bring you the best, especially this weekend where St. Louis is about to go crazy after the improbable World Series title. The parade for the Cardinals happening in a few moments after this game is over at Busch Stadium. And then the Rams, winless and heavy underdogs against the Saints, about to pull off a major shocker. The flip to Sproles, knocked out of bounds. The Ram defense with those 6 quarterback sacks is the most allowed by New Orleans this season.
What a performance by St. Louis. 0-6 in all phases. The sacks, Steven Jackson has been outstanding. They score on defense. Robert Quinn right there, number 94. What a breakout game for him. He has a sack. He blocks a punt that they end up getting points off of. What a complete team performance.
Fighting to the end, though, is Drew Brees and the Saints. Incomplete, intended for Jimmy Graham. 2nd and goal. 15 seconds remaining.
And the leaders have stepped up. I think that's one thing right there. James Laurinaitis, without question, is the leader of this defense, only in year number 3. And his will and his play has been on full display. There's an old dog that can still hunt. Al Harris has had a nice game. And then, of course, Steven Jackson, Chris, on the offensive side of the ball.
Chris Long up front on the defensive line. Drew Brees, end zone. Colston can't hang on. 3rd and goal. 10 seconds left.
Brees for Colston, incomplete. 3rd and goal.
Colston going to go up high with defenders all over him. Look at that breaking of the arm down. I think it was that Marquise Johnson that came in and ripped the arm out as Colston grabbed it and tried to squeeze it. It was either Dahl or Johnson who grabbed the arms and broke the arms apart so he couldn't hang on to it.
Drew Brees, end zone, and he gets the touchdown pass. Lance Moore with the catch. And I know that it's small consolation for a tough Saints loss, but for an outstanding quarterback like Drew Brees to now have a touchdown pass in 35 consecutive games in the regular season, he keeps that string going. Brett Favre with 36 and Johnny Unitas the NFL record of 47.
And that was all him really buying extra time in the pocket. Lance Moore broke out to the outside. Looked like he was going to run an out route and stuck his foot in the ground and went back inside. And Drew found it.
With 6 seconds left. The Saints trailing 31-21. Breeze 30 out of 44. 269 yards. And he finally gets the touchdown pass. Just mentioned the record holder, Johnny Unitas. Breeze will take that mark into the game against the Buccaneers next week. So the Saints ready to slip to 5-3 at the halfway mark.
They'll be all right. Yeah, they got too much firepower on both sides of the ball. Back to the drawing board. Look, it is so hard to win every week in the National Football League, even against over teams. These guys are professionals. Well executed game today. Outstanding game plan on both sides. And if I know Drew Brees
and Sean Payton,
that's right, and Payton, they know they left a lot on the field today, but they also know they'll give that Rams football team some credit in how they executed their game plan.
And that bye coming at the right time. Sean Payton, we hope that he feels better. Broken leg and surgery on the knee. And after that bye, the Giants and the Lions, the schedule gets tough, as we'll expect the onside kick here that could be the last play of the game. It must go 10 unless the Rams grab it first, and they do. Chris Chamberlain making the grab. But Steven Jackson, 159 yards rushing, averaging 6.5 a carry. 2 touchdowns. He caught 3 passes. And it isn't just what he did with the football, it's what he did with his teammates.
He wasn't having it. His will, his determination, he put the team on his back and said, look, we're not going to do this. We have self-destructed too many times this year and hurt ourselves with stupid penalties, drops, turnovers, whatever it may be. And basically grabbed the Ram by the horns and said, not today, not on my watch.
And this should do it. So the Rams get their first win of the year. The Saints fall to 5-3 with a 31-21 final in St. Louis. For Tim Ryan, I'm Chris Myers. Let's head to Baltimore.